Welcome to Sober Shenanigans, real talk and real recovery. We're just two everyday alcoholics trying to get better one day at a time. Trying to help you all know out there that you are not alone. There are groups and people around that are just like you, wanting to get better every day, one day at a time. I am one of your hosts, Stauff, and with me, as usual, is my main man, 100 Grand Primo. Primo, what's going on? All right. Well, with us today, we have Amanda from New Jersey. Amanda, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Appreciate you asking, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Now, Amanda, you have your own podcast, is that correct?
Yes, I host a podcast for women in recovery called The Middle of It. And really, it can be applied just like any of the 12 steps to any situations in life, anyone who feels like they're in the middle of something. So, just trying to offer that solution.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic idea because I mean, aren't we always in the middle of something? We used to be in the middle of going broke and being destitute and losing everything. Now we'd like to think we're in the middle of gaining things back, having a great life, and enjoying sobriety, which is, as we like to say, the great life hack, where you have total freedom and you can do anything you want. So I think that's a great name for a show. It's definitely a little more apropos than Sober Shenanigans, whoever came up with that name. Primo?
Well, it was, late at night, few too many coffees, and, we toiled over the name, but I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to represent, like, rule number 62, that we don't take ourselves too serious, that this thing is like a loose garment, and we're gonna go out and enjoy life, we're gonna rip it up, and we're gonna do it, man. We're gonna just travel the world and have great adventures and great loves and raise kids and have a great career. I don't know. It just seemed like a good idea. Why
Well,
not?
I think the name is awesome because it instantly made me know exactly what you guys were about. And when I saw it on the Facebook group, I was just like, I need to tap into these people. And I listened to your podcast and I was like, yes. I was telling him, Primo, before you got here that I was just like, it's like that, they joke it's the brotherhood, sisterhood thing of AA, but it's the reality. It's like you're not strangers. You're people that have gone through things very similar to me. So it's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Primo.
Oh, you thought I was going to say something?
Oh, I thought I heard you breathe. Usually
I'm
you're
breathing.
talking if you're breathing.
I have a look at the size of my nose. Okay, it's a wind tunnel. It just gets in the way and it makes a lot of noise. I'm sorry.
It does. It does have a wind tunnel effect. That is a great point, Amanda. Our guest last week was telling us about meetings that he went to all over the world. In fact, he wouldn't even really plan where he was going to stay. All he knew was he was going to go to a meeting in that town. So he flew to India, right? He gets off the plane. He finds a meeting first. And then he goes to the meeting, doesn't have a hotel. And of course, after the meeting, he's talking and they tell him where to stay. Don't waste your money over here. Go here. It's nice. It's half price. So he ends up traveling the world like that. And, Primo and I just got back from Vegas where we went to the Pod Fest and we enjoyed a group there. And you're right. The brotherhood, sisterhood, we're all part of one big family, and it allows us to meet people like you, which is fantastic. It's just great. Um, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your history, maybe how you got sober. Let's hear your story a little bit.
Sure, sounds good. So my sober date is October 24th, 2020. So I got sober during COVID, like so many other people. And it started for me early on. High school is when I started, dabbling into things, trying things out, feeling the pressure of everything around me, life in and of itself. Went through college similarly, got pregnant sophomore year of college. That was a surprise, not planned. And, I thought that my daughter was going to change my life. she was going to be this reason for me being a better person and living a better life. And that's just not the reality of it. I couldn't do anything, I could temporarily change myself for periods of time, but I couldn't change my life the way that I needed to for her and to be a mother to her. Um, and so, I struggled. I struggled for years and years. That daughter is now 20. So it's been some time. In that time period, I've tried to get sober on my own and failed many times, thinking either I don't really have a problem, I don't really want to stop. Like, I was with someone for 10 years who had a very severe drug addiction, and that made it very easy to go, well, you're worse than me. Um, so I focused a lot on him and trying to make him better. And when he wasn't, it gave me my excuse I needed. And when things were good, I had it still an excuse. I ended up losing custody of my daughter along the
Mm.
way, ended up homeless, um, living pretty much out of a bag in what is Asbury Park, New Jersey. It's not really, people know it for like Bruce Springsteen and the Stone Pony, but it's not a place you want to be.
Whoa,
And yeah,
No,
it's not great.
no.
And
what a savage.
yeah, super savage. Um, super, super sad is what that was. Super sad. And I started like putting pieces together on my own. I got pregnant again, and I was like, I can't lose this one. And I tried very hard to get my life together, and I would get it together enough so that anytime our version of CPS is called DCP&P, anytime they came knocking on my door, things would
Mm.
get good enough so that they'd go away. Um, and COVID brought me to my knees. I was able to pull a job together. I was able to get rid of the guy. I was able to, fake it enough to the outside world so that most people wouldn't enter. And like, I kept people out, kept people as far away as possible. I'm a master mask wearer and
Mm.
maker. And finally, I had to get sober. And my life was bad enough. I was desperate enough. And I was realizing that I was going out door dashing during COVID to get money to support my habit. And my kids needed food. And I was really spending everything on myself. And it was just, it was no way to live, and it wasn't like my bottom was what? Was being homeless, right? Like, that was my bottom, but
Yeah.
it wasn't until I read something, I heard something this one particular day, and it just kept going back to alcoholism and having a problem. And it was like it got in and it stuck there like all day, just beating me around. So, and it's funny because I heard on your last episode, the guy had done a quiz.
Yeah.
I am
Wow.
a quiz taker myself. I Googled, am I an alcoholic? And took a quiz. I did not drink 2 days a week because that made me feel like I wasn't an alcoholic. And so that I then was like, okay, well, I don't qualify for this. I'm not an alcoholic. But something still sat in the back of my mind that night. And as I door dashed drinking and trying to get more money for more alcohol, I typed into Spotify. I was big into listening to podcasts at the time, not making them, but I typed in, am I an alcoholic? And an episode came up literally titled that. I can't find it today, which is wild, but it was a guy kind of talking about the chemistry of alcoholism. So boring, not what I wanted to listen to at all. But then all of a sudden he goes, if you found this episode because you typed in, am I an alcoholic? You probably have a problem with drinking. And I was like, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew because I sat there with my ex going, if I was the one who had a problem, I'd do something about it. So I picked up my phone, downloaded AA Meeting Finder, and went to my first meeting the next morning. And that was October 24th, 2020.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And that, I got to think that as we get sober, we like to say there's no coincidences. And the fact that you found that podcast and now you can't find it again is
Yeah.
one of those weird alcohol AA phenomenons where it hits you at the exact right time. Whatever it
Yeah.
did, it rang bells in your head, and you're like, man, God is speaking to me. Even if you had no sense of a higher power prior to that, you're like, God is speaking to me. I got to make a move. And I'm sure you're super glad that you did, right? I mean, it's
Oh my
changed
God.
everything.
My life is so different from the day that I walked in.
Is that
Absolutely.
a third kid in the background?
Oh, no. So I have 4 children. I have
Oh.
4 now total, and I did end up getting custody of my one daughter back, and, we have a great
Sweet.
relationship. Yep, I
Yeah.
had another one after that, and then, my partner and I had one in 2024, and we just took in a foster, last month, a 5-month-old little boy. So
That's
yeah, we're a packed
great.
house.
I
That's
love
great.
babies. I love a baby, man. Just to put my baby right here on me I'd stay there all Sunday. I won't even move just so I don't wake him up. Just I
Okay,
love
Yeah.
just remember that at 3:00 in the morning when I'm up with a baby feeding it
Yeah,
tonight.
I did my time.
I
Greg did his
remember it very
time.
well. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we
How many
respect.
kids do you guys have?
I have one.
Primo?
Just
1?
one.
Okay.
Well, I
Primo's
had
got
3
one. I got
stepkids.
3.
I have 3 stepkids, and
Okay.
they were fully grown and untrainable when I got them.
Mhm.
They were
I got 3. I got a son and 2 daughters, and they're grown, 26, 23, and 21. And my 23-year-old is up by you. She's a teacher, and she's had 2 snow days in a row in Jersey because everybody is snowed in.
Mhm.
But one thing I was thinking as you were telling your story so I'm guessing your firstborn was around 14 when you got sober. Because I did the math in my head,
Mhm.
which I can do from time to time. It amazes Primo because he's not very good at anything like that. But
I usually am a little more active in this podcast, but I miss you, Greg. You're not in the room with me. I don't know what to do. I'm very lonely over here.
your time
All I
is
have is all
coming.
these I have all these
Your time
buttons
is
to
coming.
push. Yeah, I know.
So what a great age for you to get sober for her, because
Mm.
she's just coming into so much emotionally. To talk about that a little bit, how great it was to rekindle that relationship with your oldest.
Yeah, I mean, she was always pining for the relationship with me
Mm.
and, wanting it at such a deep level, and I couldn't be there in the ways that she needed, of course, and, once I was able to, she was my biggest cheerleader. Oh, she was so happy. She was so proud. She thought it was the coolest thing when I was going to the meetings. She was my babysitter for the younger ones when I had to go to well, had to, but when I was getting to go to meetings. And 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 she just always was just like, are you still sober? Are you still sober? And she
Mm.
would worry. She would look in the refrigerator to see what was there and make sure, let me see what's in that glass if we're out. And, it that her fear never had to be realized, thank God. Um, but it made me realize how important it was to them that I stayed sober too. And now she went to a couple of my celebrations over the years and she would just cry. She's very emotional and she would cry and she loves it. And now
Yeah.
she wants to be a guest on my podcast. So we're thinking
Yeah.
about it.
That she's not only in the middle of it, she's like that is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a great blessing. They have anxiety for years. My son he's never seen me drink, but he's seen his mother drink, and it's impacted him, and I guess I'd like to understand it, but for him, it's, it's definitely it sticks with him,
Hmm.
you
Yeah, it's
know?
Yeah,
tough.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, my other two have, it coming from both sides, and I'm no longer with their father. Primo knows I met my partner in AA, and
13 stepper.
um,
Oh,
just
yeah. Oh, she good for you.
he's listen, he's really good looking, so
It happens.
no, and he talked the talk like I thought he had more time.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
but they have it coming from both sides. And, just it was like what, 2, 3 weeks ago, their dad got arrested again, and it was all
jeez.
over Facebook. And now they're older. One is 14, the other one's 13. And having to deal with that. But I'm just so grateful that they see that this program can work for if you work it. They see two adults working it, doing the right things. It doesn't have to be that way. And hopefully they never have to face that. We have a very, very dry household. No substances allowed in our home at all. Um,
Yeah.
and there's an expectation there of no drinking. Like I'm real about the fact of what happens in high school, but I also tell them, listen, you're coming it from both sides. You can't you can't mess around. This is life or death for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got some people depending on you guys, you know?
Mhm,
The obligation and the responsibility of being sober is it's rewarding, but at the same time, it's keeps you in check. When you
mhm,
know that other person, you guys are like a team, and then the kids, all that energy is, sounds very rewarding to me, actually. Like, the promises are coming through every day, and it's just, I don't know, I would love to be part of all that kinda mix. I miss the kid, and, when your kids grow up and they go to school, you're gonna miss them, right, Greg?
Oh, man.
That's
Absolutely every day. And I try to
yeah,
talk them back. I talked my one in told my one in New Jersey yesterday to move home. Um,
yeah.
you know, it's just yeah, and the thing about it is, and I didn't realize this till I got sober, but you can't fool kids. I thought I
No,
was fooling my kids for years. I thought that the Listerine and the cologne and that I wasn't slurring and that I didn't smell, and come to find out that that was all BS. So when you first do get sober, they look at you, with a grain of salt, like, yeah, you can tell me everything you want, Dad, but I don't believe it.
mhm,
So you got to walk the walk every day, like you're doing and your new partner is doing, until, because you can't really fool them.
mhm.
I don't know if this is a funny story or not, but we ran into, my daughter ran into one of her best friends over Christmas. And I used to drive them or pick them up from school every day when they were in middle school. And she went with her parents to Colorado a couple years ago, and she's walking around and she smells Colorado. She goes, "Well, this smells like Mr. Greg's car."
Oh
Is
God.
what she,
Oh
and
God.
oh, jeez.
yeah, yeah. So my daughter tells me this over Christmas. She goes, "Oh yeah, she said that it smelled like your car." I'm like, "Oh God." Here it was the whole time. I thought that the spray and was working, but it never works. We can't pull the wool over the kids. They see through all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And they're learning about it at school, and then, like, they're like, "That's my mom, that's my dad doing that stuff too." It's
yeah.
So
wild.
so the hard part, my first wife and I were raising my child, going to meetings, and it's the handoffs. You know what I mean? It's like, I gotta go to my meeting, and, it's like that whatever my meeting was, my Monday night was like religion. Don't
Mhm,
you dare schedule anything on my home group, and then, of course, you have to give the other person their space, and it was like, and my sponsor said, that you need to do this, and then, and all that, like, stuff that comes up, and, and I loved it. I mean, I liked being in check because of that, but it gets, there is the relationship and the program. And sometimes you're working 12 steps. Sometimes you're working 24. You got to be careful.
So
Gotta,
true. So
you
true.
know,
I mean, we are definitely both guilty of during fights and arguments being like, have you spoken to your sponsor recently? When's the last time you got to a meeting? And
right.
like, I think you
No,
could really use a meeting tonight. But we're both pretty good about getting to our meetings. We stick to the meetings that we've been going to for some time. Our first dates were Saturday night meetings that we would like meet up at and then go in together and not talk to one another and then leave and then go out to dinner or something. And that's how our first dates were.
that's how the 13 step works. You sit across from each other in the meeting and somehow you kind of canoodle on your way through the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. And think nobody knows. Think nobody
Yeah,
knows. But
nobody
really
can tell.
everybody
Yeah.
everybody knows.
That's
Yeah,
We've
I
seen it.
go
We've
no,
seen it
go
in
ahead.
our home group. We've seen it in our own group from time to time. And
Oh yeah.
I'm not fit to judge anybody about anything. In fact, there's a little piece of me. I'm happily married for 30 years, but there is a little piece of me that think that if anything were to happen, it might be cool to find someone in the program. You got another thing in common, and it's a great thing. It's just like finding, well, not maybe, it's like finding someone in church or finding someone at a neighborhood group. Except this group doesn't drink or party or anything, and you support each other with that. I think it's kind of cool, actually.
When it works, it's really good. When it doesn't work, it's not so good. Just saying.
I guess
Well,
you
Just
have
from
to yeah,
and I was
you know that.
13 stepped all the time. It happened to me all the time, and I just like, man, I had to get into a relationship so they would leave me alone.
Beat a beat 'em off with bats.
Oh God, it was horrible. It's horrible.
Oh
uh,
gosh. Well,
You,
it was cool though, because like when we did get pregnant with our daughter Bryn, I sent a picture to everyone that was like in my home group and that we were friends with. And I wrote on a mirror, we're having AA baby. And she became our little AA baby. And I got like a little white chip for her when she was born, and
oh
also
wow.
a 9-month chip because she was my first child that was born without ever having anything in her. So when she was born, so it was
oh,
my own little thing with her. Yeah.
that's sweet. Is 9 months purple? I mean, I think at our home group, Primo, or
Well,
is it?
yeah, we call it Palm Harbor purple for some reason. It looks like a kidney stone. It's nasty,
I think
but
it's different.
from
Like,
from
so it's
Alfie.
different places because in South Carolina, they did chips. And in New Jersey, we have coins. So I
Yeah,
don't know,
we got chips
different
for
colors.
everything up to a year, and then coins a year plus. Actually, one of our good buddies just got 27 years today.
29, wasn't it?
Wow.
Was it 29 or was today the 27th? Right, 29 on the 27th. Right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did a presentation actually. I was very
Yeah, you
honored.
did. Yes, you did.
Um,
Yeah, you did.
uh,
Well, Amanda, tell us a little bit about how the podcast came about. Like, when did you start it? What were you thinking? What does your name mean? Give us a little update on that.
Sure. So I originally thought I was going to write a book of like how to apply 12 steps to your normal life. And then I realized I have 4 kids. I'm not going to write a book right now. So I heard someone on a podcast just talking, just doing a regular podcast on sobriety, interviewing. And I thought to myself, what if I did something like that, interviewed people and brought the 12 steps into it? And as I thought about it more and more, I was like, I could also have some monologues where people are actually getting the same direction that I bring to the women that I sponsor. I could put in a way on a platform where anyone can listen to it. Um, I just started writing. I started writing for the first episode. And what's so funny is I have no problem speaking at a meeting for incredible lengths of time. When I share at a meeting, I have to check myself on time. But writing a podcast episode, for whatever reason, I will write something and think it's so long, and then I record it and it's 10 minutes, and I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me right now."
I listened to your podcast today, by the way. Very
Oh,
good.
God.
But yes, you
Okay.
were no, it was really cool. I was listening and I was trying to work out and it was
Was it
interesting.
10 minutes long?
She's a very good well, first of all, she's very good at asking questions, and she's very good at the questions are very pointed, and there's a great flow to what she does. That if I had less of a problem with ADD, I would have I would have paid better attention, but stuff in the gym was flying around, but really no, I was watching the construction of the way you constructed it, and it was different. I mean, it was different but impressive at the same time. I am not structured like that, and I was I think that's good because I think that that the people will need structure. They'll need to have some sort of direction, and you clearly are putting together some thought into what you're doing. You're not just push and record, which I was impressed by it.
Thank
Not
you.
like us, Greg. Not like us two
Yeah.
hooligans. As heathens over here
No, I
winging
love
it.
this. See,
Ours,
I feel like I don't have enough of like banter or anything, and this is fun. This is a
This
fun
is a
conversation.
lot of fun, but I also have like many decades of doing it wrong. So that's what they call wisdom,
Mm.
So so that helps when you have
yeah.
wisdom. So I
We
know
just
what not to do.
Yeah, we just want it to be like the meeting before or after the meeting. We're just talking about whatever anybody wants to talk about because the feedback that we get online and in person is that our show makes people feel comfortable. We don't
Yeah.
we're not out to judge or out anybody or tell anybody what to do except don't drink today. And everyone has their own way of doing it. Primo is a black belt, we like to say, in the AA programs. He knows it inside and out. I'm a relative newbie. Obviously, you're on the women's side, sort of a black belt as well. You've got your favorite parts of the book. Speaking of that, are there any favorite parts of the big book that you specifically like? That I mean, I'm sure you like it all, but anything in particular?
Um, Probably Dr. Bob's Nightmare is one of my favorite stories.
Ooh.
Um, and then into action. It doesn't get better than that, putting it into action.
There you go. It's interesting because I did the steps only through the big book only. Not all this other stuff. I had an old school sponsor. And into action, I believe, is the fifth or say right after how it works. So yeah, I think you're like 6 through 9 or 10, almost all the way up to the 11 step or 12. Yeah, all the way to the 12 step.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. All right, I
Come
had to
on,
pull it
Yeah.
Primo,
out.
pull it out.
It's in there. You just have to
Come on,
coax it out of me.
get it out of there. You got it.
It's in there.
Yeah.
So
So,
It's
well, how long have you been doing it?
I'm
How long
sorry.
have you been doing the podcast?
So I started the podcast over the summer. I think my first episode was in July, and it's weekly. I've been playing with different days of what works not only for me, but for listeners too. Because I want to catch people on a day that they want to be listening to something like that on their way to work. It's very much solution based of for sure, but only from my experience, right? Like I drive everything through my experience, strength, and hope, and I make it very clear that I do this through AA, but there's other ways. Other people get sober other ways. This is just the way I did it. It's my experience, strength, and hope. It's not promoting the program. I try to stay away from that in spirit of the traditions. Um, and I try to apply it to different things too, because the reality is, right, is that like your first couple years, it's truly like they say, like it came for the drinking, stayed for the thinking. And that for me, like I apply it so much to my boundaries that I have with people in my life. I apply it to parenting, to work, like my normal 9 to 5. I apply all of these things that I picked up in the program, and I definitely don't do it perfectly, not even like 50% of the time, probably. But as I'm going through these things, that's what that week's podcast is on. That's how it always works out. The conversations I'm having with my sponsees, my sponsor, that's what I center it around. Um, and then I have the good fortune of being able to go, oh, I'm having some problems with boundaries and powerlessness right now. Like, I'm going to go back and listen to it too. And because it's different, I write it and I look at it and I can read it, but hearing it again is a good reminder, and a reminder that I often need myself. So
Yeah, I think those
Boundaries.
are great
You know what
points.
boundaries are, right, Stauff?
Tell me.
Well, my wife's not in the program, so she just hits me with a frying pan. That's how it works in my house.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I deserve it, obviously. I'm looking at your in the middle here and some of your topics. And when life gets lifey, how to stay grounded when everything else feels overwhelming. I like the fact
yeah.
that you make up words too. I love
Lifey.
that.
I think
Lifey.
life it's probably in the dictionary. I'm going to
It
stand by
is. In
that.
the
I
Urban
bet lifey
Dictionary, it
is.
certainly exists. But I like that.
Maybe. I don't know.
So
I have a
I
ninth grade
will say
education, so
that's
I
okay.
can't. Yeah,
I dropped out of college, remember? I had a
yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
You
Dropout.
are a
College
savage.
dropout.
You are a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm going to grant you you definitely got it going on. One
Yeah.
of our
Homeless in
sober
New
sisters.
Jersey is got to be one of the tougher things ever. Um, for sure. Were you homeless during the winter?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
shit. Like,
Yeah.
where did you stay? Like a dugout in a baseball field or something?
So no, there were times train stations were easier. And then there was one person who let me stay on her sun porch, which was not heated, but she wouldn't let me in her house. So I stayed on the sun porch, and eventually I'd get enough money up to go and stay at a hotel. Because I live in a shore area, so winter is off season. And at that time, you could get a week of an efficiency motel, sometimes with bed bugs, sometimes not, for like $150 for the week. So,
you were from the Jersey Shore.
no, I am not from the Jersey Shore.
It's okay. Just hey,
and
it's okay.
neither are any of those people.
I didn't
I
think
know you
so.
had to get. That sounds like it gets old after a while. I'm sure.
That and the Real Housewives of New Jersey. It's neat, which my guilty pleasure, of course, but not really what New Jersey is like at all. I grew up in like the country bumpkin area of New Jersey where there were cornfields and cows, and we went cow tipping and did all that type of stuff. It was very different. We had nothing to do but drink and do drugs. So,
Yeah, the country in Jersey is very beautiful. In the Garden State, I mean, but there's a lot of agriculture and great food. It's a lot of great food. Sorry, I'm a foodie by heart, so I pick up on that for sure.
The only things I knew about New Jersey was The Sopranos and the Jersey Shore kids. So I thought I didn't know there was country out there. But I heard it is. I heard it is beautiful, and there is some nice areas, and obviously there are.
Yeah.
You know what's really interesting is that you got sober during COVID when everybody else ramped up their drinking because liquor stores stayed open, at least in Florida. It was one of the things that stayed open. So that's when, at least me personally, that's when I took my drinking to another level because we didn't have anything else to do. And somehow it was pitched that that was okay. Like you couldn't go these places that you had to, but the liquor store was open. So I might as well drink a bottle of Captain every day because I really didn't have much else to do. I think it's really profound that you did that during that time because you could have done anything. You got free time, you got the little kids, and that's when you decided to get sober. And you were solo or you were with the ex-husband at the time?
Solo.
See, that's really some great will. That's some determination and some the discipline that not a lot of people have. I think that's really admirable.
Well, thank you. I think I did the same thing though. Like I didn't get sober until October. So from between March and October was a rapid, deep decline. It was now I get to shut the door and not let anybody in, and it's not weird, right? Like now I'm allowed to do this. And then everyone was trying to connect over the phone, and I found my network of people that I could drink with and not be chastised for it, um, not be made to feel like I was doing anything wrong. And I was drinking, it wasn't Captain for me, it was Tito's. It was a bottle of Tito's a day. And um and yeah, I was waking up after when I was supposed to be logging in for work. My kids were being woken up after when they were supposed to be on for school on the computers. And I was not caring. I was not caring about myself, my life. I didn't want to be around my kids anymore. I know no one did, but like I I think I really, like, made it known in the house that I didn't want them to be around, and my backyard was a disaster. There were cans and bottles everywhere. My house had become a disaster. I would wake up in the morning and there would just be, like I drank beer and had hard liquor. That's mm, sun up to sundown. And I started saying to myself, "Okay, I'm gonna run. That's how I'm gonna stop." Because I was always someone that liked running, and I was like, "I'm gonna start running again. So then I'll stop because I want to get a good time. I'm competitive, and let me try it this way." And no, I just ran like shit and felt like shit in the morning,
Wow.
and it wasn't working out. And finally, one day, like I said, I had there was a book that came out sometime before this. It was Glennon Doyle's Untamed. And it's a book very much focused on women, like reclaiming yourself and your life. And I wanted to read it. I was someone that tried to solve problems through self-help books. So I was like, oh, this is going to change my life just like everybody else's. And I went out to Target and bought it or whatever, picked it up. I forget. And sat on my couch reading it and started reading about this woman that was sober and about her life experience. And she was sitting in a closet going through this like mental dialogue. And I related to literally everything she was saying. She was a mom, she was struggling, and then I turned on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, which is a Real Housewives. He's like one of the big producers. And she was on it. She just happened.
Wow.
I didn't know who she was. And he introduced her, and she was with another woman who was getting sober, another housewife. And they were talking about that. And I was like, what? What? And hearing their experiences again, I was just like, that's me. That's me. And that's what led up to it. That's what led up. And then I walk into a meeting, and it was a women's meeting. It was a Sunday morning women's meeting that I still go to today. And there were only like 4 women that were still going to that meeting through COVID. They kept this one church open near us for meetings. And I met a woman that morning who reached out to me the next day to see what meeting I was going to. And she was just one of those people that like radiated light and energy and everything cool and positive. Um, and I wanted to be just like her. And that's what,
Mm,
made me curious. Like, what could she teach me? What could she tell me? And she became my first sponsor.
that's great.
How awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
Super lucky.
Yeah,
that's
but
a
so
great
you look like you
story.
put the work in. You look like you're ready to put the work in, and I think that's you know really half the battle is showing up. But so motivated. Once we get once we get the energy to realize that we're done, it's no longer going to work, and we put our foot in the ground, and we pivot, and we head towards whatever this direction that we want to go in. We're unstoppable. Like,
Mhm,
we are unstoppable. 4 kids, no big deal, I got it. Sober, man, all that stuff. It's like, I'm doing this,
mhm.
and I personally couldn't have done all that, but, I know that I had my own hill to climb, and, women God made women very special and gave them some superpowers that I still to this day am in awe of, and I always have been. I saw my first wife. She had a miscarriage, and it was an amazingly difficult thing for her. And all this stuff that we went through, but the way she reacted could only have been through God's will.
Mm.
It was amazing. So my, my hat is always off to the Sober Sisters for sure.
Yeah,
There's some cool ones.
yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah.
don't want to piss them off either. They'll get the doll and burn it. They'll get together and burn effigies of you and stuff. I know. I've That's all I'm
I
gonna say about that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not go too deep into that. The so it sounds like you're October of 2020. I think you've got probably an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old there, and your oldest one is with your ex-husband because you'd lost custody, right? So it was
So
just you three.
I got custody back of her before that. I managed to pick my way enough to get a good enough job, a good enough life, to appear enough that I could keep it together to get
So
her
you
back.
and 3 kids
Yeah.
in the house with the cans in the backyard. Wow. That is It's amazing that had that balancing act, and it seems only right that you got sober after that because you probably got to a point where, it was shit or get off the pot. You were like either gonna go down with the kids or you were gonna become the mom that they needed, and you became the mom that they needed, and that's awesome. It's a very inspirational story. I
Thank
see why you
you.
wanted to write a book.
I don't know if I want to write a book on my story though, 'cause I don't know if I want it out there that much. Actually, this podcast was the middle of it podcast was me coming out as an alcoholic. I each year, every time I celebrated, I would think to myself, do I want to put anything out there? I'm pretty active on social media, and I was like, do I want to say anything? I know it could help someone else. And I would just shrink back and no, not
Right.
now, not this year. And it wasn't even any milestone or anything. I just went out with the podcast, and episode 1 shared a little bit about my story and why I was there, and just said, that's it. That's it. I'm going to take it or leave it. I don't care anymore, because every good thing in my life that I have today that I've been blessed with is because of this program. I
Yeah.
know that. I know that to my bones. I know that. And like, I want people to know that. And if you don't wanna send your kid over our house because, "Oh, we're in sobriety and we're sober," let me tell you, you can know that no one's finding anything here. There's no alcohol cabinets to be raided in the middle of the night while we're sleeping. So, judge
Yeah,
away, but we're happy.
I think it's awesome.
I do
I'd send
too.
my kid over there. I got no problem with it. 'Cause he's 21 though, so he eats a lot. He's expensive these days. So,
Yeah, they all are. Even the more the older they get, my son moved back in. He was living in Chicago for a while, and then he moved back in, and all of a sudden the water bill's way up. We're out of toilet paper
eh,
all the time. Things I never even knew that you could
laundry
overuse
detergent.
is getting
Oh,
overused.
yeah.
But now he's getting ready to move back out again because he basically came just for a stopover with us, and I'm sad. My wife and I we were empty nesters for all of 30 days last year when everyone was either at college or with their fiance in New Jersey and he was in Chicago. And we had just gotten to the point where we were supremely bored with each other and he came back. So, I, I, I kind of like having him around. At least he's
So
in town. Huh?
what'd you do those 30 days, though?
We
What'd you
did.
guys do?
We had a lot of fun, we played cards. We all of a sudden we became like this. Well, we're already an old married couple, but we're playing cards, and then we had some favorite shows, and had a favorite dinner place, and had a little beach routine. Yeah, we really enjoyed our time together, and then, well, of course, the naked house stuff. I mean, no one's in the house, so you could be naked if you want to, and there's a little bit of that, and just for shits and giggles. But it was really quite awesome, I guess, now that I think about it. But so we'll have it again when he leaves in February 15th. He moves out again, and then there we go again. And let's see, I got one coming home for spring break in March, 2 coming home for spring break in March, different times, because Jersey spring break is different than my other ones in Florida Atlantic at University down at Boca. So they got different spring
Mm.
breaks, so they'll come. And then one comes home for the summer. So I guess they're never all the way away, which is great. But I do miss them at the
Oh.
ages yours are now. We look at pictures, we're like, I miss that kid. I miss that
Oh my
8-year-old. I
Mm.
mean, man,
Yeah,
they're
the
fun.
Facebook memories is, I get like these flashbacks and I got a picture of my kid eating his first steak. And I was so proud of him. And then I'm like, oh shit. I no longer get the kids meal bill from the restaurant anymore. Now he wants a $42 strip, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
that was the that was
Way to
the
go,
part of growing
Luke.
up. Yeah, Luke had no problem ordering. Dad, can I get the 18 ounce? I'm really hungry. Like, damn,
Yeah.
it just.
That's
But
great.
Well, Amanda, we love
So
the
good.
fact that you also listen to our show. And since you're a podcaster, do you have any questions for us?
God, you put me on the spot right there.
the
Jeez.
Yeah,
secret
that's
sauce.
right. Welcome to the big show.
All right. So I'll say, what's, I'll ask you both, what's the last thing that you've done to serve others
Primo, go ahead.
outside of the podcast, because this is a service in and of itself.
Oh, um, I mean, I don't really keep a list. However, this morning I did
He did.
do a medallion presentation. I went to visit a member at our home group that gave us the no drinks today saying that we use. I
Right.
visited him in the hospital.
Mm.
There's just I don't know. I don't really like to think that I just do those things, and I don't necessarily ever want to have to talk about them. You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just picked up coaching kids again, basketball. Um, which I love to do, and it's just another thing in my life where God and my higher power has come through. Like I literally told my wife, I said, I when I was doing my morning prayers, I prayed that I pray every day that God will let me be of service to somebody. One person is
Mm.
fine. And I prayed that morning. I said, you know what? I really would love to coach kids again because when my kids were growing up, I coached basketball for 12 years, the middle school ages. And it's so amazing. This life is so amazing that within 2 days, I got a random call from a friend who said, hey, Stauff, this rec center, their basketball coach is moving out of town. They've got 40 kids. They have nobody to coach them. Do you want to coach them? I didn't even tell him I was looking to coach. And I looked at my wife. I go, I have to say yes. I mean, I have to. I prayed for this. I asked for this. So I started coaching the kids again, which I just love. Um,
Yeah, that's
you know, it's it's just I love it. And when a kid does something correct or they listen or they have joy and they have fun, it just makes me so happy that I have any part of it. And it's so that's kind of what I've been doing, besides the podcast and whatever else, the other things that did the daily meetings and it just so happens that where I work, my 9 to 5, I have quite a few guys that are sober there. And
mm,
we see each other in the hallways, dap each other up, just give each other you're doing great, you're doing great. And this isn't so odd, but we're always the earliest ones in the office.
right.
Um, because none of us are hungover ever, which is great. Not being
Hmm.
hungover is in the top 5 things about being sober. That's for sure.
Oh,
That's for
yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
That's for
Absolutely.
sure. And you look back at pictures of yourself. Like I look back at pictures, it looks like I'm hiding walnuts in my face. I mean, I'm so swollen that, it's like, look at the liquid inside of me. It sounds like I'm slushing just by you look at that picture. I was, this is funny. I was just back at my old high school and there was a picture of me on the wall. I was a good basketball player. Long story short, they're repainting part of it and they took my picture down and I'm sitting there with an old buddy. And I go, man, they took my picture down. I wonder if they put it up. And before I knew they painted it, I said, I wonder why they took it down. He looks at me and he goes, well, it's because your picture failed a drug test.
Pretty
I
good, pretty
said,
good.
yeah, yeah. If that picture, if that version of me would have peed, I'd have been in trouble.
Mm.
Unfortunately, but
Hmm.
yeah. Well, that's a pretty good question. Did you go to a meeting today, Amanda?
No, nope, not today. Yes, yesterday was my home group. It's funny. My home group is Monday nights. But our meeting, surprisingly, was canceled because of the state of emergency.
Oh, that's right.
You
I
guys had a
forgot.
snow
So
day?
I forgot you're snowed
yeah,
in.
I haven't had a
weird.
snow day in forever, man. I actually was giving half price parking at the parking lot for anybody
Hmm.
that had a scraper, a snow scraper. I was giving half price.
In
Nobody,
Fort
nobody showed
Myers.
up
Oh
nobody showed up
yeah.
at the beach with their ice scraper. I was felt pretty generous about that actually.
Well,
Nice.
I ended up inviting my sponsees out to go to dinner instead because I was like, listen, the roads are clear enough. We can make it out. So we did dinner last night and that was great. I got to hang out with them and talk, catch up, everything. And it's funny you were saying before how, making sure you get to each other's meetings. My partner and I tonight is normally his meeting, but
Oh,
because I'm with you guys, he's on baby duty. But we
what
make more than one meeting a week
what a,
typically.
what a
We're
champ.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's definitely a good one.
I think it's great that you got multiple sponsees. That's awesome.
It's typically necessary with women, right? Because there's not as, there's not as
Yeah.
many of us in each meeting. Now, I have to be real with myself with, the podcast, the kids, and work, everything, my own program, my emotional sobriety, all of it. I have to limit myself. If I have someone who's going through the 12 steps, like we're going through it for the first time, it requires, like a lot more time and dedication to get through the big book. So I try and at that time, like I don't raise my hand, and it's so hard when there's newcomers in there and they're like, looking for a sponsor. But I'm blessed because the sponsees that I have are able to now sponsor other women also. So it's like that trickle down effect that I love.
Yep. The handoff.
Yeah.
I'll give you a pro
Mhm.
tip. Because at one time I used to have like a gaggle of sponsees, and it was really cool. I had these big meetings, and it wasn't really necessarily about me helping them. It was about my ego, a little bit.
Mm,
And
mm,
I got to a point now I'll only do 2 at a time.
mhm.
Take 2 people through the steps at a time, because that's all I can do well. I can't do a bunch of people and then do it. I won't give them what they need, I don't think. So that's I kinda had to develop a rule, and everyone is different, but, I try to do 2 or 3 people at the same time, doesn't really work either. So, taking them through the steps and then separating them at the
Yeah.
4th and 5th, and,
That I
but
see people doing that, and I'm just like, you got
yeah,
people coming in at all different times, starting the book different times. I have no idea how they manage it. I'm the same way. I'm like 2, I have one that's been with I've been her sponsor for over 3 years now, and, she's sponsored women, and she's one of my go-tos to reach
right.
out to now,
Yeah, and
as
I
well.
get them if I go travel or I go anywhere, call this person. You know what I mean? Like, I have numbers. Hey, if I gotta go do something, call this other person. Or make sure your Rolodex is full too, okay? I'm not your only call. You need to develop
Mhm,
your own support network. The goal is that you completely outgrow me very quickly, which most people can do very quickly, but that's my goal. Greg's laughing. But my goal is for them to outgrow me really quickly and move on, and I
mhm,
wanna give them everything I can give them, and hopefully they move on and up to helping more people, and,
mhm.
Yeah.
it's not easy for me to say that, Greg.
No, I know. You're very, very humble right now. It's nice. It's a nice
I do have
change
a book. I do have some tapes and, on humility that I autograph. If you want one, I can send you one.
every time. Every time you walk right into that one. It's awesome.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
still funny too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a little bit. Well, listen, if you're having a tough
She
time
laughed.
quitting whatever it is you know you need to quit, you're not alone. There's apps and numbers and groups in your town, or you can call us if you want. 813-625-2532. Hit us up on Facebook. Taking that first step into a room or a chat or a group with people trying to get better just like you will be the best day of your life. It has been great having Amanda from the Middle of It podcast on us with today. Amanda, do you have any final words for our listeners today?
No, just if you're struggling, keep going because it does get better.
Excellent. Excellent point. Primo, what's Primo's final point of the day?
You like to spin the wheel, don't you? What is he gonna say this week?
What is he going to say?
First of all, kudos and major courage for, putting yourself out there on a podcast. It's not easy.
Thank you.
I commend you for that, and, I'm still questioning it. Greg, look at him, he doesn't have any problem. I, on the other hand, am a little insecure. Um, and really, this point of the search for women to come on our show was so critical to find somebody as sharp and strong as you that's gonna work the program and be an example for other women. I'm honored to have you on. Seriously, I think that you're a good example. And to the ladies out there listening, take notes, because she's got 4 kids. All right. I don't know what all these things are, but whatever that reason is that you think you can't do it, I don't know, man. It can be done. And
It can be done.
It can be done. It's
It
proof.
can be done.
So thank you.
All
for
right. Well, thanks for
you.
listening.
Thank you.
Yep. And thanks for listening to Sober Shenanigans, real talk and real recovery. Worry, anxiety, and fear is all up in here. Give yourself a break. You're enough, and you're doing great. I'm Stauff. She's Amanda. He's Primo. And remember, no drinks
No
today.
drinks today. Sweet.